consider reading some of this person's work. Brilliant writer, wonderful soul. Dear friend.
Hello.
Hello, how are you on this Wednesday evening, Rebecca Sky, author, friend, a fellow human specimen?
Not too shabby. How are you?
Very good, thank you. I don't know if you've been watching the stream so far. If you have, please make sure it's muted behind you. And also, take a look at the graphics I'm making here. Look at that.
I shut down the stream when you called because I wanted to give you the full focus.
Perfect. Well, just so you know, there is a wonderful picture of you holding one of your books, looking wonderful. And by that picture, I have made it a slightly purple, like if you saw the Tyler from Said the Whale graphic, there's a slightly purple tint to it to fit the space theme. And then it says your name, -author.
Wow.
Yeah.
Fancy.
Much fancy. So you're calling from where, and where are you calling from?
I'm actually barricaded up on Mount Washington. I think there's like 3 other people up here. It's kind of eerie, but also incredibly beautiful. So yeah, that's where I am at.
Self-isolation time. I think before I delve into more questions about that, for people that aren't aware of who you are, we should just reset. And I know that we've had this conversation a few times because when I've had you in to try and help you spread word of the amazing work you do. So I know this is like the 3rd time now that I'm asking you to essentially set us up here with how you went from what you were doing prior into now, okay, I'm a full-time author, and millions upon millions of people have read my work. How do you start answering that one?
Oh God, that's a long question. I'll try to give it to you in a shorter answer. I always loved writing, but I was not very good at it structurally. Like my teachers would always be like, "You're our most creative student," and they were referring to my spelling and grammar. But it was always just such a passion of mine. And I was, the teenager, like most of us, who had like books and books of angsty poetry. But I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life when I graduated. And so I went off to Africa to work with a humanitarian organization that did things like gave surgeries to people or built houses and hospitals. And while I was there, I got bit by a spider. And I had to come home, and I basically was bedridden for a year. It caused this extreme reaction in me and extreme pain, and I couldn't move. So during that time, I kind of turned to my imagination to keep me comfort because, as a lot of people are starting to understand, it's hard when you're stuck inside all the time. It's hard when you don't have those options, and I literally couldn't move. So creativity, like my daydreams, just became the thing that distracted me from that pain. And one day my brother was like, "Hey, why don't you try writing your stuff down?" And he had introduced me to this really cool Canadian website called Wattpad, where amateur authors to professional authors post work for free. So I set up an account and I started writing, and the rest is history. My work took off, and I got interest from literary agents and publishers, and now I have 2 books out and an anthology out, which is kind of cool. So yeah, it's a really weird story of how I got to writing, and I got to pursue my dream in the end, but that's how I got here.
Anne-Marie has posted, "You rock, Rebecca."
Thank you, Anne-Marie.
And this is why I reached out to you to be in the episode, whatever this is, episode 3, yes, is because I knew that you had gone through this, and it speaks so well to the time that we're in right now, as you touched on as well in explaining your history there of, okay, isolation is a strange situation. And so to go back to that and share what you're willing to and don't what you want to, but what were the most challenging parts of that initial isolation before the brother situation and the Wattpad and writing came about? What was the real challenge, and how did you harness that and turn it into a positive and understand and respect that part of your subconscious to move forward?
Yeah, I guess for me, I was 19 at the time, and I thought that the whole world was ahead of me. And then all of a sudden, everything stopped. And prior to that, I was a professional athlete. I was downhill skiing, and I was competing to get onto the BC team, and the goal was to go to the Winter Olympics. And so to have, everything who I thought I was and who my goals were ripped away. And there I am, not being able to move. My mom has to brush my hair for me and, help me do everything. I felt so helpless, and I had to go through all the stages of grief. Like I was angry. I was angry at the world. I was angry at my body. and I just like had to mourn it, had to mourn the life I thought I was going to have and that I wanted. And then eventually I started being really grateful every day that I woke up, even though I was in pain and even though, I couldn't move. I realized that, I still have life and I have people who are caring for me. And I'm lucky to live in Canada that has a pretty decent healthcare system. And I'm not going into debt because I'm sick. I'm like my friends in the US, if they had to go through what I went through, some of them would have had to declare bankruptcy. So I started appreciating the things I had, and I, had my family write quotes from some of my favorite authors and books on my wall and ceiling, so I could look up and remember and just remember that be grateful mentality. And so for me now, when a lot of people are freaking out about isolation, I'm just like, I am so lucky to have a place that I can be safe. I'm immune compromised because of what happened to me with my spider bite. And my partner works front line, so I can't be around him during this time. But I'm so lucky that somebody offered me the cabin to stay in. And I'm so lucky that I have running water and electricity, because there are people right now who do not have that, and they're having to go through this horrible situation with that fear. And so I'm really lucky to live in Canada that has a great healthcare system. And, the government seems to be on top of this as best as the government can be. So, I think I'm going into this situation with a different headspace because I've kind of been here before, in different scenario, obviously, but I'm grateful for the things I can be grateful for. And I, want to help out as much as I can to other people. So, and I think that's all we can do. I think we can just find the things that we can still be grateful for and hang on to those, and use this time to really, better ourselves and our relationships with our friends and families, and try to live each day the best we can.
Well said. I love you. You're a wonderful, wonderful person. Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you.
For those that have recently joined, Jacob, Stacy, hello to Ashley and Sonia and Ginny, and also Alyssa and Mike. Welcome to Live from My Bachelor Pad, a twice weekly adventure that I don't really know where it's going, other than wonderful guests like Rebecca that I messaged the day before and say, hey, you want to talk on a show thing via my laptop in a Bachelor Pad? Yeah, let's see what the hell happens tomorrow. Here's Rebecca. And so welcome to you all. And right, so now you're writing. I've got a little graphic up of Arrowheart on the right-hand side of my screen here. So
nice.
What is, and I know that I'm moving on a lot, an awful lot from life here, but you summed that up so well. And anyone that watched and listened to you share that last 3-4 minutes there, you just left a very powerful, wonderful sentiment and message. I have no further questions on that, because I'll be getting you to repeat what you just said so eloquently and wonderfully. So thank you for that. So let's skip forward quite drastically then to Arrowheart, the book, the first of the 2 books. What is your writing style? What on earth is Arrowheart about? Who are you going after? And why should those watching this stream consider reading it on Wattpad?
Yeah. So, like I said, when I first started writing, I started writing on this website called Wattpad, and I would just post chapters every week or every other week, and I serialized it on there for fun. And I just, I was finding my passion, and I was like so addicted to writing. And there's a really cool thing about Wattpad is where your readers can comment as you write. And so I'd wake up to, hundreds of messages each morning from people going, oh my God, I love this, or this character, that. And it just fueled me. So I was able to play with my readers, and it was really kind of this community experience for me. And had no idea that the book was going to be published. Now looking back, I would have written it differently because it took a lot of editing after. But yeah, so for me, I just was able to find this passion in a really fun way, and I had a lot of people cheering it on from an early stage, and I'm incredibly grateful for that. And so what ended up happening is my book took off on Wattpad, and I have over 12 million reads, and the New York Times did this profile on me, and from that I had literary agents and publishers reaching out. And so here I am now, and I have Arrowheart and its sequel Heartstruck published, which is so cool. It's published internationally, and it's been translated into German. But that experience was just so bizarre because I had to turn this fun anthology of characters and stories that made this whole into a book shape. So that's where I started taking writing really seriously, and I started studying the craft and how could I make this work, something that, a book instead of something that's with serialization online. And so that's the process I went through. And So Arrowheart is inspired
Okay,
by my love of Greek mythology.
Firstly,
yeah, sure.
how am I going to be in trouble that I text you directly for this interview? Is New York going to be angry that I did that?
Is New York going to be angry? I don't know. What are you texting me?
No, no. Is it okay that I set up this interview? Is your publisher going to be mad that like who's this English guy talking to?
No, my publisher is actually from the UK. So my publisher is Potter Children's Books, and they did Vampire Diaries and How to Train Your Dragon. That's what they're most known for. So they probably love you, actually.
Well, where's he from, though? Do you know where they're from? North or south? I'm joking. For any English people watching, they're like, yeah, I want to know, where is he from, north or south? Anyway, so go back. Sorry. So Arrowheart, I love the concept. Yeah. Characters, abilities.
Yes, it's inspired by my love of Greek mythology. And I'm kind of a romantic nerd. Those of you who know me know how much I adore my husband, and I'm just like a romantic at heart. So I've been obsessed with Eros. He's the Roman version of Cupid. That's how most people know him. But Eros has two arrows: the arrow of infatuation, which is what everybody knows for Valentine's Day, yada yada, and the arrow of indifference. And so I kind of started thinking about that. And so my main character is a descendant of Eros, and she has the ability to take the will of anyone she kisses. And that causes complications when she falls for somebody because she doesn't want them to love her for her power. She wants them to love her for who she is. And it's very sweet. But so that's book one. And it's a lot less than it's a lot more than just romance. There's like police chases and such. So that's kind of like an adventure romance novel. And and book two follows up on that. And
I got a graphic for that.
God. Yeah.
Heartstruck graphic is now up.
I can't wait to see these graphics. I can't wait to see them, actually.
Well, you know what they look like. It's your book.
Yeah. I was impressed by the menu or the food cookbook graphic you put up for the last guest.
Thank you. Yes. For Said the Whale. Yes. Cascadia cookbook.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So those books are rooted in Greek mythology, but they really explore things that I was going through at the time writing them. And I was raised in a Christian home, and I kind of left that. And so the concept of consent and, following in your parents' footsteps is really big in the book. So, yeah.
Wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
So people now are mildly intrigued. Again, they go to Wattpad. Is that an app? Is that a website? How do you consume your work?
Yeah, so, you can go to anywhere you can buy books, and online right now, indie bookstores, please buy, if you're listening from Victoria or wherever, buy from your local indie, because it will really support them through this time, because, Amazon is going to survive coronavirus, but indies might not.
Quite.
So you can buy from your local indies, or you can buy online anywhere ebooks are sold. There is some chapters available for free still on Wattpad, but the whole book is no longer available for free there. Okay,
good to know. Thank you. Jade Lee Johnston has said, love your show. Oh, to me, that's very kind. Sorry. And Rebecca, you're an inspiration. That was what I was trying to read to you. Rosalind says, this is just what I need. Hope. Thank you for sharing the story. And I feel like there's so many more comments that I'm not seeing, because I'm just trying not to get too distracted by all the technology and focus on the conversation. But this page says 267 comments. The one I'm looking at, very different, about half that. So what am I missing here? Before I let you go, I just want to check there's any other questions that people might have asked that I haven't seen. Zia says, thanks for putting me onto Wattpad. Russell Books, Kendra says, has a no contact pickup window, so you can go and get your Rebecca Sky Heartstruck and Arrowheart there in the drama section. Yeah, okay, some people already have it.
Nice.
Yeah, not all these comments are showing for me. I think there was a question about, someone was asking, and I can't recall, pardon me, but I saw it flick up and disappear, something about the spider bite and what you used to help with that. But I think they came into the end of the conversation and didn't realize it was like quite a substantial, life-changing spider bite situation. It wasn't just a 10 days of cream and 9 days of antibiotics. It was many months of...
it was antibiotics at first. They thought I was unconscious for a few days when I first got bit. They thought I would die from it. But I recovered, and what the doctors ended up thinking is that the infection triggered rheumatoid arthritis. So I had a really incredible, really strong sudden onset case of rheumatoid arthritis, and that's why I couldn't move my joints and such. And I still have it, but I've learned how to live with it and tools to deal with the pain and such. So, yeah, that's where I'm at now.
My goodness.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think
Yeah.
there's just so much to process, and it's just, and it's also important to leave that time for people that are watching it to process. I don't want to just jump from question to question really quickly and not let this powerful sharing sit. This isn't a YouTube video. Like, I can't stand. I don't mean like I can't stand and like it's something that wakes me up at night and I'm like, come on, the YouTube. Do I have something for that? Like, I don't wake up at 3 a.m. and be like, YouTube, no.
God! No, God,
Hey,
please,
there's
no!
a good use for that.
But I'm not a big fan of these, like, the ultra chopped up videos that just take away any kind of sense of a human. Like, it's okay to spend 30 seconds saying something. You don't need to chop it up into 10 seconds. And that's what's so refreshing about where we're at right now, is with all these people. Like, webcams are sold out everywhere. Webcams are the highest selling item on Vancouver Island in the last 7 days. Other than like usual food and supplies, in terms of like technology, they are the #1 selling item right now, webcams. And all these people that are streaming. And do you see anyone being concerned about, oh, there was a 30-second gap there where he didn't say anything because he was tuning his guitar? No. All of a sudden, we're more akin and more open to living in the moment, which always I felt was very cheesy until about 10 years ago, but now is rather powerful.
That's all we can do. We're not guaranteed a tomorrow, or at least the tomorrow, the quality we want it to be. So live in the moment and enjoy every precious second of it we have.
Laurel says yes. And Grace says, Rebecca, you're hardcore.
That might be the nicest thing anybody's said to me today.
Oh, I said I love you, didn't I, at the start of this conversation?
Okay. Second nicest thing.
Feeling a bit shortchanged here, to be honest. No,
Sorry,
it's all
Don,
good.
I love you too.
It's all good. Well, thank you, Rebecca Sky, author. Thank you so much for your time in joining this live from my bachelor pad. And love to you and your family, and strength to you in your continued isolation in Bear Mountain area, that area over there. I'm not going to give an exact address, are we? No. And just thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, anytime. Thank you for having me.
All right.
I can't wait to check out the graphics.
Oh yeah, check out the graphics. Please consider sharing it. Please consider sharing this.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
All right, mate.
John,
Lots of love.
You, buddy.
Ciao for
Bye.
now.